sexy lady who walks around without being shady, who knows her values, who's gone through trials. Her smile's a capture from mouth to mouth. It's not the size of her thighs she worries about, but the pride she thrives to keep that drive. That cinnamon twist. That cinnamon twist. That cinnamon twist. Ladies, can you feel me? That cinnamon twist. That cinnamon twist. That cinnamon twist.
What's up, guys? It is your girl, Tasha, known to the world as the Tasha Carpenter, but everybody calls me your girl, Tasha, because when you hang with me, it's like you are hanging with your girl. And in the studio today, guys, we have a treat for you. Right over here, we have this fine-looking man over here with his wonderful, beautiful girlfriend out in the studio out here. But this is the official Diallo, and I'm gonna let him tell you who he is. Go ahead and introduce yourself to the studio audience.
Well, first, thank you for having me on your show. It's an honor, it's a privilege, and a blessing to be here. I'm loving everything that God is doing in your life in this season, and I'm so honored that you would share this platform with me. I am Diallo. To some, I'm a brother. To some, an uncle, to some a lover, to some a preacher, to some a caregiver, to some a musician. That's who I am.
Wow, that's a whole lot.
Yes.
So everybody has been like really, hey guys, remember just dropping it. Look, right now I need you guys to share. Sharing a bite. I see you coming on. Hello, Jarvie Pittman. Hello, Andre. Hello, Ed. Just go ahead and share in a bite for us, okay? And remember, too, that you always get to call in on 301-429-9247. But, okay, so you gave us everything about who you are.
Yes.
Everybody has been excited because I told them that we named this series Claiming Your Purpose. Okay, and that's because you told me you have done a lot for others,
Yes.
and now it's your season for people to really know who Diallo is.
Yes.
So let's just go to the beginning. I had it posted a little bit incorrectly. I talked about foster care, but you corrected me. Tell me where did Diallo start? Go with the birth so that we can share it with our guests.
Okay, born in Washington, D.C. My parents were at the time 15 and 16 years old, so they were rather young. I was placed up for adoption, entered the system, but God would have it that I wasn't in there but a week. And so the family that actually adopted me, within 1 week of my birth, I've been with that family ever since, and my adoption was not actually legalized until about 6 to 7 months later.
Okay.
It's been such a blessing. I don't have any horror stories. God gave me a good family that raised me in the right way. I can't say I always did the right thing, but they raised me right. But no upbringing is perfect. But truly been a blessing just to have them as parents. And so in this season of my life, my dad passed in 2015 in January. And so I helped take care of him up until his passing, or transition rather. And I didn't want to leave my mother alone, so I ended up staying and taking care of her. I got rid of my place I had in Waldorf, Maryland, to be full-time, to be a caregiver to my mother.
Okay, so this is my
mother that God gave me.
Okay,
Yes,
all right.
That God gave me.
And then God bless you, because later on, unlike most people who are adopted, they don't have the opportunity to actually meet their real family. So how did that all transpire?
Oh, wow. Okay, now that was definitely a blessing. And I'll just say this, in being adopted throughout the years, I can talk a little bit about this, and I've met people that have been adopted. And one of the things that I found out is most of us had issues in their area of relationship with the dating scene, had issues, some serious issues. I didn't realize I had them. I've always been outgoing. I've always been life of the party, well liked. but ended up in relationships that were just not good, and end up staying past the expiration date, for fear of, if I left the relationship, it felt as if though I was breaking up my family. Sounds crazy, but that's what it felt like.
Right.
But when I got reconnected with my family, and just to talk about how that happened, I was born here in Washington, D.C. So basically, it was just a matter of going down to the D.C. court, having my seal broken. Had to fill out a little index card. It wasn't much detail, and filled the form out. Let's say in August. By December, they found my mother.
Wow.
And then we began the process of writing letters back and forth. And then I want to say sometime around March, I met her for the first time.
That is like
time.
amazing. I mean,
Yes.
that you could just go down there and get reacquainted. I mean, you look at these stories on Oprah and Donahue and all this stuff, and some people go through years of finding this, but it seemed like it was seamless for you to get there and do that.
It was all God, and I can honestly say that in reconnecting with my family, for the first time in my life, I knew who I was, not in an arrogant or a cocky way, but I knew who I was, and then I began to work on my self-esteem. And it began to build myself up, my confidence up. So yeah, it's been a blessing. It's been such a blessing. Yes.
Now, once you met your mom, you then learned that other people you had been around were actually your family members. So can you tell them a little bit about that?
Yes. Okay. So after being reconnected with my mother, within that same week, I also reconnected with my birth father. And the interesting thing about connecting with my birth father was maybe about 3 years prior, I did a show down at C Street at the Holiday Inn. And this nice gentleman did an interview on me right before my show. And I did not know, but it was my uncle. And did not know until I got reconnected 3 years later. And through that connection and meeting that side of my family, I found out a lot of my colleagues musically that I performed with, that I grew up with, some of them I ran the street with, were actually my cousins.
Wow.
And I had no idea. I did not know. I did not know. And for some of you that are out there that are from Washington, D.C., the DMV area, one person that for sure that I'm sure some of you might know is DJ Jazz Funk of Rare Essence. I found out that was my cousin that had been performing with him for several years and just never knew.
Y'all hear that?
Never
Look,
knew.
they type in comments. We got a very special watcher checking in from Paris.
Wow.
Miss Alicia Duncan.
Yes, that's my friend. Hey, sis, what's up, sis?
She's on from Paris.
That's my sister. Yes.
You have a question regarding was it what you imagined when you finally did meet your real family?
Honestly, I went in with a gamble, knowing that there's a possibility that they might not want to connect because my adoption was sealed, meaning that there was no way for them to contact me. So I had a closed adoption. So when I went to have the seal broken, because I got to a place where I wanted to know if I had brothers, sisters. I wanted to know who my mother, who my father was. And so I went in knowing that there's a possibility that it might not work. But I went in knowing that I was already loved. I went in knowing that God blessed me with a beautiful family. So I was willing to take the risk and the gamble. And it just worked in my favor. That when I met my family, they embraced me. They both embraced me. Both sides of the family embraced me. And I'm truly blessed for that. I know everybody's story doesn't turn out like that. But God saw fit that mine would. And so I'm grateful.
All right. So now in all of this, you had that life of being adopted and then being blessed and meeting your real family.
Yes.
But through all of that, somehow you also got involved in entertainment.
Yes. My mother, the family that adopted me, my mother has a master's degree in music. She played several instruments, actually. played several instruments, and she raised me in the church. So she was a church organist, pianist for years. And so we were in choirs. You know, I mean, from the time I can even remember, I was in a choir singing. She kept me in the choir, kept me and my sister. But oftentimes have us sing on programs together as children. And so that's kind of my introduction into music as far as that was concerned. And then sometime later on in life, when I became a teenager, I had a guy that mentored me, because this is the part I didn't let you know. Though I was raised the right way, I didn't always do the right things. And so I ended up running the streets. I ended up selling drugs for a while, running with guys that were 5 to 10 years older than I was. And got into a lot of things that someone my age should not have gotten into. And basically my mother did not know what to do with me anymore. I went to living with my aunt and uncle for some time, just to try to keep peace in the house. But she turned to a gentleman in the church. I'm going to shout his name out, Brother Royster Norwood. And this brother took me in and just allowed me to hang out with him, showed me another side of life. He showed me a black man working every day, taking care of his family, taking care of his kids, and it caused me to want more. But not only did he do that for me, but the other thing that he also did for me was introduce me to the music of the 70s. So I'm a 70s baby, but he introduced me to the Larry Grahams, the Sly Stones, the Earth, Wind and Fires. And so that began to I guess, make my appetite greater for music. And so I was more in tune to the real music, I like to say. I like to call it the real music.
Well, that was going to be one of my questions. You know, who is your favorite artist? Matter of fact, like, okay, so I always get people who come in here who's in entertainment, they're singers. I want you to pick somebody that is no longer with us,
okay,
that you would love to perform with, and why. And then someone that's here right now that you would love to perform with, and why.
Okay, let's start with the one that's no longer here. I would have to say by far Donny Hathaway. The reason I say Donny Hathaway is because he was so ahead of his time vocally. A lot of the things that he was doing 40 years ago, we're just now beginning to tap in and do musically. So I would say for him, I would definitely have loved to not only have met him, but definitely perform with him, for sure.
Okay.
For the one that is here, I would have to say Stevie Wonder. I would have to give it to Stevie Wonder.
What's your favorite Stevie Wonder song?
Overjoyed.
Overjoyed.
Yes,
oh, okay.
Overjoyed.
Okay,
Yes,
okay.
yes.
You got a Miss Kristen C. Simpson saying, Elder Diallo, God bless you, my friend. This is great. Proud of you, sir.
Yes, that's Pastor Kristen. She has an awesome ministry, Messengers for Christ. She's doing an awesome job with her ministry. They're all over Instagram. They're doing some wonderful things. She's also a wonderful person just outside of ministry. She's just a good person. Lovely, lovely woman, definitely.
So, Andre, you had a question. You asked about whether or not he asked his mom why she gave him away. He explained at the beginning of the broadcast, because some of you guys are just tuning in, that his mom and dad were both young at the time when it happened. So it wasn't that it was just a giveaway thing, but they were just both young. It was a good decision, I guess, for them.
Yeah, and to make it more clear, actually when we talked, my mother and I talked, what I found out was it wasn't even my mother's decision. My grandmother thought it was best that her 15, 16-year-old daughter not have this child. She wanted her, just like most parents, they want their children to go to college, go to school, have a shot at life, have a career. And so as a mother, she thought she was making the best decision for her daughter.
Right.
And at that time, back in the 70s, if you were a young person and you got pregnant, as a mother, you really didn't have any say-so because you were still under the jurisdiction of your parent. Well, in today's time, when a teenage girl becomes pregnant, basically you have the right to pretty much say and do, what you would like to do as far as your child is concerned. So it was a lot different, but that was what it was. But even to make it more clear, I just believe God orchestrated it that way. After meeting my birth parents and kind of knowing the dynamics that they grew up with, I know it was God that orchestrated. And even my birth mother actually told me, she said, it's hard for me to say this, but I knew God gave you those parents. And she was so proud of my mother, and she thanked my mother for the awesome job that she did with me. And I know that had to be hard for a mother. I mean, you a mother, so I mean, you know, so but for her to just be humble enough to say that, it was a blessing.
Hanging with your girl Tasha. Who do we have, and where are you calling from?
This is Lynette Jewell. I'm calling from Charlotte, North Carolina.
North Carolina in the house. Hello,
Hey.
Lynette. What?
Hello there.
Oh, that's my cousin, Lynette. What's up, cuz?
What's going on?
All right. Thank you for calling in.
Actually, I just called it up when you said, oh, gosh, I didn't hear him call in. So I just want to say you have more than just a special guest on your show.
Oh, wow.
Well, tell me who I have, Lynette.
Huh?
Tell me who I have. It's more than a special guest. What is he to you?
Well, I don't know what name he wanted to be called because he has many skills and talents. I mean, I can call him the Ivory Key Master. I can call him the Master of the Locks. I mean, I don't know what name he wants to go by.
Well, he said he the real Diallo today, though. But you could call him anything you want to call him.
Call him the man. I'm going to do that there because you when I tell you anointed, talented, down to earth, I could go on and on. And not just because it's just that when you been around him, you know, one, you got 50 gamer when it's time to sing. Don't come half-stepping, or he'll do like Red Velvet used to do. I need a soprano, I need an alto, and a tenor.
That's true.
Now sing. So when I tell everybody that he's gifted and anointed, that's like an understatement. So I just want to say I'm proud of him. I've always been proud of him, and y'all, the best is still yet to come because y'all haven't seen all that he can do. The ministry is already been anointed on the keys. Now he's out there doing God's work, but he's also playing God's work. So he's hitting everybody all around. So I'm proud of him, and I love him, Mark.
Oh, I love you too. Thank you
Thank
so
you,
much.
Lynette. Amen.
And God bless you on your show, too. So, Mark, we'll be talking soon, but definitely. Yep.
Okay, we had another call calling, and I saw you calling, and you could just dial back in, and the room will pick you up.
And what you don't know about her, she's actually an author. And so she has
Lynette, call me, girl. You come on. You could be on the seat, too.
Yeah, she has 2 books out. 2 books. Wonderful books. Doing very well.
Okay, so we had another call coming in. I recognized the name there. That was Diallo, and Lord have mercy. I'll wait to see if they say that is the person calling back here. So she talked about, she kind of gave it, I said call back, guys, is what I was trying to type in there. Ignore that thing. So she talked about you,
That's the goal.
hanging with your girl Tasha. Who's calling and where are you calling from?
Hey, my girl Tasha.
Hey.
For life and my cousin for life on live. This is Tanya.
Tanya, what's up, cuz?
Hey.
Can you turn your sound down in the background, sweetheart? We're getting feedback. Oh Lord, another call. We're getting feedback.
You cuz for life. What my cousin said from North Carolina said it all.
Wow.
You are loved.
I am.
You are loved.
I'm blessed. I'm blessed. All I can say is I'm blessed.
Blessed and loved. Thank you, Miss.
Yes, nothing but love for the both of you all. It's an honor to have both of y'all on there together. Y'all are so special to me, and I love you so, so much. Keep doing what you're doing, Tasha. Mark, continue doing what the Lord has for you to do. I love you much.
We love you too.
All right, baby.
Bye-bye. Okay,
Wow.
before another call comes in, because I told you that this hour would just fly by,
Yeah.
especially when you're a person that you're out and you were Natasha said the lines are popping tonight. That's right, the lines are popping.
That's a blessing.
When you're out touching people, that speaks wonders, because people call and support you because of it. So we gotta treat the people a little bit now. So I know that he did not bring his keyboard.
No.
But he did bring his vocals. So now is that time that we're gonna go ahead and it's another phone call. One moment. Hanging with your girl Tasha. Where are you calling from and who's calling in?
Hi, this is Alicia. I'm calling from Paris.
Oh,
hey,
what's up,
sis.
Alicia?
Hey, you guys. How are you?
Hey.
We are excited to have you on the phone line and in the chat. What you want to say to Mr. Diallo?
Hi, sweetheart. How are you?
I am doing well, and thank you for taking time out to even think enough about me to call in. I appreciate that.
Well, you know, it's almost midnight here, and I stayed up
Wow.
to watch the show. Tasha,
Wow.
I want to congratulate you. I know you've been doing this for a while, but this is my first time catching you.
Wow.
And I've been paying attention, so I just want to congratulate you on what you're doing.
Thank
And
you.
I'm so glad that you have my brother on the air with you today.
That's a blessing.
Yes.
That's a blessing.
He
That's
said
a
he
blessing.
wanted to share his story, and I said, what other way to share your story to come on and hang in the studio with your girl Tasha, and we see all the love, because the numbers are just like really going up. But you know, I'm going to tell you, girl, go ahead and hang up the phone and turn the volume up, because he's about to share a song with the audience. Are you ready?
Okay.
All right.
I'm ready. You all take care. Love you.
Love you too.
All right. Yeah.
Wow.
If any of y'all call in during this song, I'm not answering the phone. Don't be calling me here. You can stand up if you want.
Oh, I can. So I can stand. I try to sit. If it get too good to me, I stand up. Just gonna have some fun here. Yeah, 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 yeah. I need to have you next to me in more ways than one, and I refuse to leave till I see the morning sun. Yeah, yeah. The time is right. You hold me tight, and love's got me high. Yes. Please tell me yes, and don't say no, 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 not tonight. Just move a little close to me. You owe it to yourself, and I will selfishly take a little for myself. And it's because of you that your love won't let me wait. Yeah, you see the time is right. Just turn down the lights and take my hand. Reach out and take my hand. and we'll take a flight. Then we'll spend the night in Wonderland. Girl, I need to have you next to me in more ways than one, and I refuse to leave till I see the morning sun creep through that window pane, because your love won't let me wait. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Ooh, yeah, yeah. Girl, I need your love so desperately, and only you can set me free. When I make love to you, we'll explode in ecstasy, yeah. And I won't take the blame, because your love won't let me wait. Yeah, I said your love won't let me wait. Yeah, 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 yeah. All right.
Guys, y'all just don't know what it is like to be in a studio with him singing.
My.
But y'all are cracking me up in these comments.
What they saying? What they saying?
My auntie, my 65-year-old auntie, told everybody, back off, you are hers.
Whoa.
She said, you are hers, back off.
Whoa.
Author Lynette Drew says, boy shining.
Wow.
Robert Pearson says, sing Diallo Foster Butler, sing.
Wow.
Janita said, you better sing, boy.
Wow.
Author Lynette says, sing, cuz. And they was like, oh my God, he sounds nice. They was like, ask me want to get a woman.
Wow.
What Joseph told her he wanted to know how to sing so he could get a woman. He needs to sing like you.
Wow.
But you know, I have to tell, because it kind of came out the pocket. I don't always let people know when I really know the guest or something.
Wow.
But guys, when I first met Diallo, I had Tanya, as y'all know, Tanya called in, his cousin. She had this event.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, was it Christmas or New Year's or something?
Something she had at the house, I remember.
It might have been a New Year's Eve party or something.
Yeah.
But she asked your girl Tasha to bring
the string beans.
I bought some string beans.
The awesome string beans, yes.
And he sang Luther Vandross to me, a song. And he put string beans in the lyrics. He was singing for the string.
Them things were good. They were that good. That good.
So that was the first time that I was introduced to him and learned about his many talents. So now that you've gone through all this, you have migrated, because everybody talks about you've always had the gift of playing the keyboard. You've always had the gift of singing and the lyrics and stuff, and now that you've started and you got that special relationship going on with God, you've moved into the position of being an elder with the church. So help me understand how that transition and all that happened and what it has meant to you.
Basically, as I said before, my mother that God gave me raised me right, raised me in the church. So my foundation has always been rooted in God and in the church, though I strayed away. And so, as they say, if you raise a child the right way, when they get older, they won't depart from it. And so those things that were placed in me, those seeds that were sown into me, began to grow. And I remember hearing God's voice for the first time. I really wasn't sure that it was God, but I later found out it was God's voice calling me for ministry. And for years, I ran from it. I didn't want no parts of it. I saw too many things in the church that turned me off and pretty much didn't really want me to fool. But I always kept a relationship with God, but I didn't want anything to do with ministry. And the more I ran from it, the more I couldn't get away from it. And I remember I was serving at a church. Just to shout out Bishop Blake, he's over at Image Christian Ministries over in Clinton. That's actually my dad in ministry. It was under his ministry that I got licensed back in 2007. And I actually, when I was at that church, I was there as their minister of music. So I wasn't thinking about preaching, had nothing to do with it. But basically they were giving classes, ministers training classes. So I said, well, I'm a minister of music now. Maybe if I take some of these classes, it will help me lead better. I show up to the class, and when I walked in, my bishop, he had his arms open wide and said, son, I knew you were coming. And I gave him a hug, and I was like, I don't know what he knew I was coming for, but I'm here. And needless to say, as I went through a few meetings, I recall being in a meeting, and he was just going down his list, and he said, okay, in May, Minister so-and-so will be doing their initial sermon. Okay, in June, we'll have Minister Mark Diallo Foster. He'll be doing his sermon. I looked up, and I said, well, I am? And so basically that's what happened. It literally,
on the spot.
It happened just like that, and got licensed in ministry back in 2007 under Bishop Melvin Blake out of Image Christian Ministries, and then transitioned fast forward to another ministry, Word of Grace Worship Center, which is located 12353 Washington Square in Waldorf, Maryland. And I got introduced to this ministry by a good friend of mine at the time. He's now Dr. Dominic Carey. He's my pastor. And so I was introduced to their ministry, and went in, met his bishop at the time, Bishop Rustin Jackson. Met with him, had a meeting with him. And the thing that was interesting about him, when I sat down with him, he saw somebody like me, and he basically told me that he didn't care about my gifts in music. He said, if you come to my church and you want to sing or play, we'd love to have you. He said, but that's not why I want you to come. And the thing that we had in common was he's from Detroit, actually. And the church that he was at, Greater Grace, which is in Detroit, one of the guys that helped mentor me, the late Reverend Donald Vales, when I was at Ebenezer as a teenager, he helped mentor me. I remember sitting on the piano with him, and he taught me. So we had that connection, because in Detroit, he was a minister of music at his church. So God would have it that we came together in that way. But he was not impressed with my gifts. He didn't care anything about my gifts. But what he said was, I want to help equip you further for ministry, because you don't know what God is going to do with you down the road, and you don't want that because you don't have the right credentials, that your growth and you cannot move forward. So he helped me to get relicensed through this awesome ministry, New Destiny Fellowship, and the prelate for that ministry is Apostle Thomas Wesley Weeks out of Delaware. So I got relicensed, and then he later had it that I would get ordained through this same ministry. So I'm coming up on about 4 years now, I believe it is, almost, being an ordained elder in the church. Yes.
Now look, you got all kind of stuff popping off. I can't even keep up with the comments. Lynette want to know, where is your keyboard? Lynette, I told him to bring his keyboard. He didn't choose to bring his keyboard. Maybe we'll have him back the next time and he'll bring his keyboard.
Yes,
and Lynette also says you have got to share this story about how you became a musician, because the story is amazing, involving sitting in the church and watching your mom.
Yes, okay, so let's start there.
So share with them.
So how that happened, basically, I remember going to my mother's choir rehearsals, and the reason I had to go to the choir rehearsals because she didn't want to leave me home in the evening by myself for, I don't want to call it fear, but she didn't want me running around in the streets anymore. So she made me come to choir rehearsal, and I started hanging out there. And then when I got there, I thought it was cool. I'm just being honest, there were ladies there. So I said, I can do this church thing. So every week I look forward to coming to choir rehearsal because of the ladies were there. And basically, while I was there, I would just listen to the songs that they would go over with the choir. And then when we would get home, I would go to our piano and play the songs that I heard. And my mother would look at me and say, how did you do that?
By ear.
By ear. She said, how did you do that? You learned all of that from just sitting and listening? I said, yeah. And I began to start showing her the songs. And because my mother's classically trained. And so she's more of a traditional player. So she didn't know, some of the substitution chords and some of the more fancier things. So I began to show her the chords. And so from there, God rest his soul, at the time it was Reverend Charles Robinson. He was the youth choir director at Ebenezer at the time. And so she brought me to him and said, my son can play. And he basically took time with me, took me under his wing, and began grooming me and allowed me to start playing with that choir. And then from that platform, and at that time, let me just say that the choir at that time was amazing. I want to say our average choir was probably about 250. About 250.
I'm sorry, Lynette said you're a keyboard in the car. You don't go nowhere without it.
My keyboard is not in the car. I promise you it's not in the car. I promise you. But it was like,
I'm sorry.
It's okay, but it was like 250 kids. And he gave me that awesome platform. And from that platform, I caught the attention of Reverend Vales, and I started coming to his rehearsals, and he began to pour even more into me. And I mean, that's pretty much how it happened. And I would have never thought that the things that happened then would put me in positions that I would come into later, because from there I went to tour. So I was on tour for several years. I worked with a lot of different artists as a keyboardist and as a background singer. And then when I came off the road, I came back home, and of course DC is home, it's Chocolate City, it's the home of go-go. So I came back to my first love and got back into performing with a lot of the artists here in the city.
So what's your favorite go-go song?
Go-go song or band?
Go-go song.
Now that's tough because there's too many to choose from.
Okay, what's your favorite go-go band?
Rare Essence, because that's my family. Exactly. That's an easy question. Rare Essence. That's my family.
Okay, what's your favorite Rare Essence song?
I have to say, Do It On Down. That's old school for some of y'all. Some of y'all that's watching this will remember that. Do It On Down.
All right, now. All right. They are, look, Tanya said that keyboard is in the truck, too. They are like, you got that keyboard in the truck.
Oh.
So, you've already done one song for us, and we know you're going to do another song, but that's a regular song. What song did you select for your second song?
This one is Freddie Jackson's You Are My Lady.
Okay, so I'm going to put you on the spot.
Uh-oh.
Because you're talking about being in the ministry and you being an elder or something. You got to share some kind of gospel song with them. You're going to have to hit something a cappella.
Let me see. What can we do? Okay. Just a little piece.
Just a little piece.
And let me just go on record to say this. I'm a keyboardist first that happens to sing a little bit.
Right, so while your keyboard not here, you're not a keyboardist first. If you was a keyboardist first, your keyboard would be here with you.
Well
see, you are faking it. Because, see, you would come with your keyboard. See, so don't even try to talk about go on the record. You go on the record with your keyboard. Now, is your keyboard in the back of the car? Now,
we don't,
I could play a commercial. I could play a commercial. You could go down and get the keyboard.
No, we don't have it.
Hold on, wait a minute. I think the owner of WBGR got a keyboard in the background, but we can't just bring it in here. But
if you had it, I would take it now.
He do got one in the studio. It's right in the back.
You can bring it on in. I would take it. I would definitely take it.
Okay, so
put me on the spot.
Put you on the spot. Give us a little bit of something.
Let's see. Blessed assurance, Jesus is mine. Oh, what a foretaste of glory divine, heir of salvation, purchase of God, born of his Spirit, and washed in his blood. That's it.
No, you gotta hit the next verse on that. You can't just stop there.
This is my story. This is my song. I'm praising my Savior all the day long. This is my story. This is my song, praising my Savior all the day long.
All right.
That's
all
it.
right, all right.
That's it.
So now you got to tell me, okay, so you are still, you're the elder, you're doing the ministry,
Yeah.
but you're also doing the performing part of it.
Yes.
So how does that all merge together?
Now, this is the interesting thing. This is something that I've struggled with for some years. I went through a period where I stopped doing everything. I was like, I'm done with the secular. I'm not doing no club stuff. I'm not doing any of that. I'm going to only do the Lord's work and the Lord's music, and I'm done. I cut all of that stuff out. I know for like 4 years I went through that. And it was under, and I got to shout this brother out too, it was under the teaching of Reverend, or rather Pastor Tony Lee. His church is Community of Hope. Some of your listeners are probably familiar with it, but at the time he was like a mentor. And we were doing Bible study. He began to teach on music, and he was talking about music. And basically what he told me was, you don't have to give up the music that you enjoy. The thing that makes music bad or good are the lyrics. If you remove the lyric, it's just music. And see, back in this time, it was taboo to kind of do some of the things that I see doing now. Like, I love what 104.1 is doing, and Cheryl Jackson and what they're doing. Even when they play their mix, so they play like a lot of, you get to get hip hop, you get to get rap. You know, there's Christian rock. There's so many variations of it. And so through that teaching, I began to feel better, and I said, well, you know what, just like a banker goes to work and they work at a bank, you work federal government, these are secular jobs, and they go to their secular jobs, they make that secular money, and they come and they pay their bills with it, and some of them tithe. And my profession just happens to be music. It's what I do. I went to school for music. I've been trained in music. It's my profession. And as much as I try to get away from it, the Bible said that your gift will make room for you.
Hello.
And so every time I've come down and my money was just short, someone would call, hey, can you do a wedding for me? Hey, can you do a funeral? Somebody would call with a gig. And so the more I tried to get away from it, the more God would send it. And I was conflicted because you would have some saints that would say, you got to let that stuff go. But when I really thought about it, I said, these are the tools that God gave me. And I complain about not having money, complain about not having the things I should have. But when God is blessing me and sending things my way, and I'm telling him no. And so I had to really humble myself and just realize this is the tools that God gave me. And so I need to use what's in my hand. And for this season, that's what I'm doing. But what I can tell you is that because of ministry, the music has taken a back burner. And the front burner is my ministry. Ministry's on the front burner, but music will always be there. It'll always be a part of who I am and what I do. But my focus now, more so in this season, is ministry and growing further in ministry.
Okay, so you guys know sometimes when y'all write these long novels in the comments and I hit the see more, it makes me hit all these crazy emojis, so you get an angry face and stuff because I'm trying to see what you wrote. I can't get it all, it won't open. But Kiana T. Fields is saying that he is a true key man. Did you not see those fingers moving while he was holding them together?
Oh, wow.
And she had something else there that I can't even read.
Oh,
so
wow.
they say rejoice there. So it's okay. Like you said, a lot of people don't know. Make room for the gifts that you have. I mean, everybody wants to make you feel bad about things. You
That's
know,
right.
you can't do this or whatever, but there is a balance.
That's
so
right.
when we talk about, you talked about the words and lyrics and things and that stuff. What are your thoughts about, let's say, today's rap or today's go-go versus yesterday's go-go, and when it comes to the lyrics and what kind of messages is sent out to young people and women and balance and all this other kind of stuff? Okay. What are your thoughts about that?
Okay, my thoughts are I can use it music. I can go with music, and I can also go even with things on television. I remember growing up, and let's say that there was a sex scene. You would see the man, he would look at the woman would look at him, they'd smile. Next thing you know, the screen goes black. And then the birds are chirping, and you had to fill in the blanks and figure it out.
And mom and dad was putting your hand over your eyes for that.
Yeah, for that. And nothing was being sung.
But they don't cover up no eyes nowadays.
Oh no. Now you cut it on, and I'm telling you, the stuff that I see on prime time, You know, you had to, back then it was HBO. You had to get on HBO to see that, or if you really want to go even further, you had to get on some pornography type of a situation to see the stuff that they're showing on regular TV. And when it comes to music, I remember growing up, like I said, I loved the music of the 70s. Now they were saying things, but they were subliminal, so you had to figure it out. You had to use your imagination. You know, they were tasteful with it. Now they just come right out and say whatever. I can't get with that. I wasn't raised that way. I can't get with it, but I do understand with everything. What's the word I want to look for? It evolves. It evolves.
Oh, okay. Don't be asking your girl Tasha for no big words.
Everything evolves. Everything evolves. Music evolves. The things we see evolves. And then if you really want to even bring it back to the Bible.
Somebody talking about earth, wind, and fire.
Yeah, there you go. I love them. I love them. But even bringing it to the Bible talks about in the last days, these things will happen. You know, these things will happen. You know, we're going to see all kinds of stuff that used to be in the closet ain't in the closet no more. You know, now I remember going, when I went to prom, you know, the guys would go with the girls. Now you got girls going with girls to the prom. You know, one in the tux, one in the dress. You got two guys going to prom together. And even when you talk about the rap music, just because I do still have opportunity to perform here and there, even in these clubs, the music does not encourage men and women to dance together. You will see guys in one corner dancing with each other. You'll see the girls in one corner dancing with each other. I can't relate to that. That's not where I come from, but that's just what it is today. So my thing is, we definitely have to stay prayed up and pray for these young people, because there's an agenda being pushed on them through media, through the music markets. There's an agenda, even through the clothing market. If you look at the clothing, what man is going to wear some skinny jeans? Back when I came up, those were leggings.
At least it stay on their butt.
Some of them. Some of them, sis, some of them, I'm telling you, they look like leggings. They painted on. I'm like, what real man wears that? But I understand everything evolves, but we just got to keep the young people in prayer. And then those of us that know better, we have to be the right example. To show them that there is another way. So we have to also, you know, be the example, I believe.
All right. So at this moment, because I got some other questions too, I think it's time that we should go ahead and do that other song for us too. You got,
Let's see. What happened?
Short dress. Somebody talking about dresses and everything else in here.
Oh my God. It's true. This is what they do. All right, so let's go to it.
We got Chicago checking in saying there's a difference between religion and relationships.
You got that right. Let's go to this thing. Let's see here. We're going to try to do this one. Oh. There's something that I want to say, but words sometimes get in the way. I only want to show my feelings for you. There's nothing that I'd rather do than spend every moment with you. I guess you should know I love you so. Ooh, yeah. 'Cause you are my lady. You're everything I need and more. You are my lady. You're all I'm living for. Now there's no way that I can resist your precious kiss. 'Cause girl, you've got me so hypnotized. Just say that you'll stay with me, 'cause our love was meant to be. And I promise to love you more each day. Ooh, yeah. 'Cause you are my lady. You're everything I need and more. You are my lady. You're all I'm living for. You are my lady. You're everything I need more. You are my lady. You're all I'm living for. Will shine, 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 yes. Until the end of time. Hey, hey, yes, 'cause you are my lady. You're everything I need and more. You are my lady. You're all I'm living for. I'm praying for. Hey, yeah. You are my lady. Yeah. Said you're everything I need. Yeah. You're all I'm living for. I said I love you so. Said you're sweet, yeah. You're all I'm living for, yeah. I said I love you so. Come on and go with me, yeah. Oh, you're all I'm living for.
Y'all in the comments talking about Tasha feeling it. Yes, I was feeling it. Janita, you talking about the string bean song. I actually, when he started singing and I realized
that was the string.
It wasn't Lufa, it was Freddie that was the string bean song.
Yes.
Now he not gonna sing the string bean lyrics for y'all. I know that's what y'all said. Y'all want to see the string bean lyrics? Y'all go to Tasha Carpenter on Facebook, and I will reshare it tonight, and y'all can watch it on Facebook to see how it was when I got the string bean song. And Miss Tanya Davidson said, please add that to the playlist for our reception. She wants that at the reception. Okay. Okay. So now look. So with all this talent and stuff and everything, tell us. I mean, you're saying that right now is Diallo, and you're ready to claim your place.
Yes.
So what are you working on? What's in the future of Diallo? What is it that you want to do? It's time for you to go to the next level.
Yes. Basically, as you said, for years, I've performed with other people. I've supported other people. I still will continue to do so, because I believe that what you make happen for others, God will make happen for you. So I will always continue to do that. But where I am now, it's just time for me, as they say, to grow up. And kind of launch out into the deep. A lot of times we stay on the shore because it's safe, it's comfortable. Like it's more comfortable for me to just be in the background and play the keyboard for other people, and to have somebody else be out front. And for years, people have been saying, hey man, you need to be out front. You need to do more. You need to do more. And I would always shy away from it and say, no, not me. I'm comfortable here. But when God puts purpose on your life, and when he calls you, even when you try to get away from it, you find yourself doing it. I'm here today. Like, this is proof positive of what I'm saying. I never thought that I would be doing my own interview. I've interviewed with other people. I've been on all kinds of TV shows, different things like that nature, but never to do my own. So this is also a pivotal point that I can mark time. And I thank you again for inviting me on this show and having me on this platform. But basically the things that I'm working on finishing a book. It'll be my first book. This book is talking about my journey as far as being adopted and the things I went through being adopted and how it affected me, and just how, and being reconnected, how it's changed my life and added new meaning to my life, as well as brought things full circle for me. The other thing that I started doing about a year ago now, I'm in my second year, is at the building where my mother lives. I do service every third Sunday for the residents in that building. And what I do is we do praise and worship. We do testimony service. We read scripture. We even bring a word when God leads us to do so. And we serve communion to the residents of that building. And
That's
those
amazing.
that cannot get out, because we do it downstairs, they have a movie theater. So those that cannot get out and come to the theater, I go to them, to their residents, and I actually knock on their door and I go in and I serve them. One of the other things that I do consistently is I actually go visit nursing homes. And I go in and just make visits. I go and pray with the residents there and serve them communion as well.
So am I hearing you looking to get your own church
Well, I'm
and
going to be
building?
honest. I didn't look to get this. I'm just going to be honest with you. I did not look to get this, but it's God's will and God's call. Now, if God leads me in that way to go that way, then absolutely. But I got to know that it's Him.
Now, let me tell you something. I'm just going to throw it out there because, you know, there is actually, WBGR is not just about the entertainment network. We also have a politics and news network. We have the sports network. We have a health and wellness network. And we have a gospel network.
Oh, wow. Okay.
There are some shows that are on here actually where churches, because it just wasn't feasible for them to maintain this expenses, that they come and they do their show here, and their members follow them on the network.
Wow.
And even do ties and everything else too. So you
Wow.
never know. You were talking to me about how did I get started. Who knows? That might be something that could be a stepping stone to something bigger. I don't know.
Wow, that's a blessing.
And I want to tell you that this morning, what you're talking about, actually, every Monday morning I do it like a motivation call with my team. And this topic this morning, we talked about Steve Harvey last week. He talked about expanding your bubble.
Wow.
Okay,
Wow.
and he related to the fact that when we were children, we used to blow into the bubble yum. You know, we'd be out there doing the bubble contest and all this stuff. But you're the only one that's in charge of your bubble.
That's right.
It's up to you to put the air into that bubble and let
That's
it
right.
expand. You're that dude. So that's why when you say it's time for you to claim your space, you're that dude. It's time for you to start blowing in that bubble. It's time for you to start moving out of this zip code and this area code and touching other people. I mean, look at this. We got Alicia tuning in from Paris. She's sharing it. We got a call that have came in. Oh my goodness. It's the end of the show. Are y'all serious? Hold on. They're not on that line. Okay, they're not on that line. We didn't get any one of them. Y'all could try to call back in real quick. Oh, 2 minutes. Thank you. Thank you. I thought you said line 2. He's up here doing this. He's complaining.
Wow.
Don't be confusing me. Anyway.
Oh, wow.
But yeah, I mean, she's sharing it and people are seeing you everywhere.
Amen.
So yeah, if it's time. There was a reason why my original guest today couldn't be here.
Yes, I believe
because
that.
today was the day for you to come here and for you to
believe that.
shine, and for everybody else that didn't know who Diallo is to know who Diallo is.
Amen. Well, thank you for having me. Thank you. Thank you. I've enjoyed my time.
So I got one more question, and and I'm sure this will take us out here.
Okay.
How do you want to be remembered when it's all said and done?
As someone that touched lives. I don't want to be remembered for my keyboard playing or my singing. That's fine. But if I didn't touch anybody's life, if my presence didn't make a difference in someone's life for the positive, then all my keyboard playing, all of my singing was in vain, because even the Bible talks about without love, all we doing is making a bunch of noise. So I want to be remembered as love.
All right. And if someone wants to contact you, how do they contact you? Share your information.
Yes, I'm on Instagram at the official Diallo. You can reach me there. I'm also on Facebook at Diallo Foster Butler. You can find me there. That's
and your email?
Oh, thank you. Email diallofoster75@gmail.com is the email.
Okay, and I'm gonna go out there too. If you want a phone number, if you contact your girl Tasha, remember I only give out my Google number because I don't play with y'all. But you can call 240-545-5695, and I will gladly get you in contact with him if you need him for a wedding, to come out and minister or do something. If you got a boys group that needs some boys to talk to him about what he's been through, all that stuff. Again, what he wants to be remembered is as a person that has touched people. So y'all can give him that opportunity. And that brings us to the end of another Hanging with Your Girl Tasha.
Yes.
I thank you for coming in here.
Thank you for having
I'm going to have you back the next time. That little lady out there and that thing going to come in here going to sing with you too, because they both can sing. But we will see you next week, guys. Get ready next week. Y'all know we're getting ready to go into that. It's less than, I don't know how many days till the election. So it's time to get in some of that education about the candidates that's going to be representing you. So we'll see you guys next week, Monday, 5:30, same time. It's your girl Tasha signing off. And you know, guys, I'm BAM, being authentically me. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Did we do it?
Now see the cinnamon twist. It's a sexy lady who walks around without being shady, who knows her values, who's gone through trials. Her smiles are captured from mouth to mouth. It's not the size of her thighs she worries about, but the pride she thrives to keep that drive. The cinnamon twist. The cinnamon twist. The cinnamon twist. Ladies, can you feel me?